Authentic Experts with Kara James, the show that takes you around the world to share interviews with some of the most successful and relevant people on the planet. Hear their stories and get the most important business lessons they have learned on their road to success, and get exclusive advice on how to implement their success into your life and business. Authentic Experts with Kara James is brought to you by the Strategic Advisor Board and your host, Kara.
Good morning. We have Marnie Madras here at Authentic Experts Podcast, and you're in for a real treat today. She's got a lot to share with everybody, and I'm super excited to introduce her and then let her take the floor here and fill everybody in on her business. So, after a long-standing career working in both corporate and startup ventures, Marnie's currently focused on building Rumbly, the world's first e-com brand designed to help women prioritize themselves in pregnancy and the early stages of motherhood. With 4 kids under the age of 7 and previous entrepreneurial work in hospitality, food, drink, and product development, Marnie's on a pace to becoming recognized as a next change leader, particularly regarding her impact on how women experience the transition to motherhood. So welcome, Marnie. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you so much, Kara. I'm extremely excited to be here and speak with you and all your listeners.
Yeah, great. Wonderful. Yeah, so we'll jump right in. So what was the most important thing when building Rumbly? What was that like for you?
The most important thing is authenticity to myself. And that means for me was building, not approaching it from I'm building a business and I need to make money and I want to have impact, which are, of course, things that every entrepreneur wants. But authenticity of more not looking at it as a business and really just more of a passion project and what do I want to create and figure everything else around. So figuring, okay, at the core, what I want to help people with, what I want to offer women, what I want to create, what's my vision, and then going in and, okay, now how am I going to make this work? What are my margins? Where am I sourcing this from? Where's like from legal and operations and, everything in between, but starting on that foundation of, I think, just like authentically what means something to me, which helps ensure that that Rumbly brings me joy. And that's something that's always been a very important value of me from working, whether I was in corporate or whether doing entrepreneurial stuff, is that work should bring you joy as much as family, social life, whatever hobbies you have. And that's always been a goal for me.
Absolutely. You are certainly going about it the right way. A lot of people just dive in, kind of eyes closed, and then we'll see what happens once we get in, right? Or, I want to do this, but it sounds like, no, you're going right from your heart and what you want to do. And I love that.
Yeah. And absolutely. I think those are the businesses that thrive on many different levels. It doesn't mean that those are the $1 million businesses or anything, but they thrive to the point where they continue going.
Yeah. And the customers feel that. They know that. They can sense that. They know, they can sense the true, authentic, vibe that you're giving off, and they feel your passion. They know your love, they love you love what you're doing, and you're showing it just in everyday life, right? When you were right in the business. So,
and I love how you use the word vibe, because I think that's exactly where businesses are today. They're a vibe. I mean, there's tons of like business and marketing lingo we can throw at it, but ultimately, like, the vibe's the feeling. Everyone tells you, you need a story, you need to solve a problem, but like you're creating, every business has its own, unique culture, and it's that vibe that you create that, whether you have employees, makes your employees, want to work for you, want to work for your business, want to help you succeed. But then, exactly, for customers, it's something that you can't articulate, that vibe. It will never go into words, but it's something that's felt across every touch point, whoever interacts with your brand, from employee to customer.
Exactly. It's the feeling. right? You
Mhm.
can't fake the feeling. So
That's
yeah,
the special sauce.
yeah,
That's absolutely the special sauce. Yeah, for sure.
yeah. Oh, great. Love it. So, why do what are you expecting with women, or why do they need Rumbly? Let's start there.
So I'm gonna kind of take a bit longer to answer this. And
Sure.
ultimately, like to begin, what's currently out there can't get women what they need. I'm
Okay.
gonna start there with that. And what Rumbly offers is, Rumbly's a tool to help you get the pregnancy that you dreamed of, the pregnancy that you wanted. There is a lot in pregnancy we can't control, and Rumbly can't necessarily prevent those, but Rumbly can help you through those hard times. So I'm going to take it back a little bit more into the story and how I came
Yeah,
to
please.
found Rumbly. So as you mentioned, Kara, I'm a mom of four. I have a newborn, 2 weeks old today.
Oh
So
my goodness. Wow.
my birth is
Oh my gosh.
very, very precious.
Congratulations.
Thank
Wow.
you. Thank
Oh
you.
my
And
goodness.
I'm in love, bursting my heart for the
Oh.
right now. And when I was pregnant with my third, I was on maternity leave, and that's when Rumbly actually really started. I had concept and about it, I think, in my second, but really dove into it then. How it came to be, I absolutely someone who I love being pregnant. I loved being pregnant. I thought it was just amazing and magical. I was very fortunate to have very uncomplicated pregnancies. So my experience was different from other women who are in my circle, and of course, like around the world. But I ultimately loved being pregnant. And what I found was, for women who didn't, I like it hurt me. It hurt me because I just saw it from such a different light. But
Mm.
then at the same time, every after when I would hit my postpartum, I had this sense of loss and emptiness. And I always thought, just because I loved being pregnant, and that really, once I spent a bit more time kind of self-internalizing and really understanding, what I was feeling,
Hmm.
it wasn't really that I just like loved being pregnant and I missed it, but that there was me who I missed. It was Marnie who I missed. And
Oh,
throughout each of those pregnancies, that transition shed part of my identity. I transformed into a new identity, but I felt really lost along the way. And I felt that I left a piece of me behind that I no longer had, that was the core of who I was. And a lot of that, I think, was because in pregnancy, both mom to be, the carrier, and everyone around her is so concerned with the health and development of the baby,
mm,
which is important,
mhm,
which is amazing. We're bringing a child into this world, and everyone should be focused on the health and development of bringing that baby into the world in the best way that we can.
mhm,
But what happens is women then don't really focus on themselves, and their universe doesn't really focus on themselves.
mm.
And so for someone like me, again, I loved being pregnant. I didn't notice all this stuff. And I was so concerned with, you know, all the can'ts that I can't do and all the things that I should do to make sure my baby's well taken care of. Yet I was going through this period of unbelievable transition of going from Marnie to mom. And each time again, a new mom,
Mm.
and pieces of me got left behind. So whether it was, it impacted me socially, it impacted my marriage, it impacted my finances, it impacted my spirit, my hobbies, like politics, everything, every part of me got impacted through this transition to motherhood. So for me, in creating Rumbly, my goal was ultimately, I want women to enjoy this period more.
Mhm.
I want them to celebrate when things are good, because it's absolutely the most incredible time. And I want to be there for them when things are hard and when they're tough, because they are. And no matter what you do, some things you can't really avoid, but we can help to make them better. And through that, help women start bringing themselves more to the main character in this narrative. So it's the narrative, as I mentioned before, of baby, how's baby, how's baby, and where do women fit in this when they're going through this physical, emotional, spiritual transition, and to help mom to be prioritize herself during that time. And ultimately, I believe that if we start, as early as we can in pregnancy, that can also impact a woman's postpartum experience and the early stages of motherhood. If she has more of a grounding on herself and confidence in who she is, and still making sure that she makes time for her, and it's not just all about baby. So as mentioned, that's kind of my long-winded way of how I started Rumbly, but also why women need Rumbly. They need someone to be there for them, to celebrate the highs, to be there for the lows, and to help them prioritize themselves as they go through this wondrous transition from youhood to motherhood.
Marnie, this is incredible. I literally have the chills. I'm just,
Thank you.
wow. Yeah. I mean, even at one point, a little teary-eyed there, just feeling this. It's been a long time since I've had a baby. My youngest is 21, but you're right. I mean, we just kind of, it's a whole new, right? From literally yesterday to the next day, you've gone from pregnant to, yes, now mom, but even if it's the second, third, or fourth time, it is a different transition each time, probably getting a little bit more joyous and more difficult, right? Just,
Exactly.
yeah. And there's a lot going on in the outside world, and you're trying to adjust to it all. And like you said, we need to, I just love this, take care of ourselves early on and know, and be ready for that. And that'll, I think, absolutely help with postpartum too, because people probably can't define it the way you did. You defined it beautifully, and yeah, no, for sure. You can't put into words when you're saying, I'm stepping out of, Marnie into a mom and yeah.
Yeah, it's this notion of identity. And again, it's a combination of what society, how they view us and how we view ourselves. And, it's like, well, I'm a mom, so you self-identify almost as a mom first. And that's not okay. I mean, it's great. You can there's nothing I do. I'm more happy than being a mom, but it's not all of me. And that's important. That I'm still Marnie. So, I'm Marnie. I'm also an entrepreneur. I'm a mom, I'm a daughter. I'm a wife, a friend. I'm a skier, a hiker, a yogi, whatever you want to call me. These are all identities that are part of me, but it's not one that defines me entirely. And it kind of like even hit home more. I remember when I became a mom and my friends would be like, text me like, how are you doing, mama? And I'm like, what? Marnie,
yeah,
mom, but I mean, it's culturally, I have nothing wrong with that, and, but it was what stopped me kind of in my tracks. And it was like, so now you only see me as a mom. And when I was working corporate, like my colleagues, it was like, oh, you can't come out for drinks after work. Like, you're a mom. You got to like go to your kids. You got to like, you don't drink. You got, it was like all those. And it was like, wait, why can't I? Where I was just like, oh yeah, you're probably right. And I just kind of like accepted it. So it really goes deep into identity and really how we can have a multifaceted range of identities, and being a mom is part of them, just like being an entrepreneur is one of my identities.
Yeah, for sure. And then, so with the other kids and husband at home helping. Yeah. So that's huge too. And like you said, yeah, I can do other things, even though I have 4 kids under 7. So
yeah, no, for sure. And it's about prioritizing it, and it's really interesting. Yes. As I mentioned, I have a 2-week-old, but my mother, it's particularly towards the end when it was nearing my due date, and she could just see that like I was just racing, I was kind of in my nesting phase and trying to get everything ready before and doing stuff. And it's like she's like, have you done anything for yourself? Have you even just like sat and like had a meal, like anything? And I laughed, like, you know, it was sort of an ironic twist. And it's like, you know what, like, I've created Rumbly for all these reasons, yet I'm not doing what I preach, you know, and I'm being fully transparent. It was like, I needed almost a Rumbly in my back to help me find those moments, build some routines that would help me prioritize myself through it. So it's like, you know, like sometimes you know all these things, but you still don't even do it. And why I say Rumbly is a tool to help you get there. You know, so maybe if I had signed up for my own business, that would have helped me and forced me to find those moments throughout my pregnancy journey, my transition to motherhood, to take better care of myself and focus on myself and be present with all of the amazing and several changes that were happening.
I love that. And yeah, it's so hard, right? Being present is what we need to do, especially in the atmosphere that you're in with the little ones, and sometimes our head spinning around, and right, you're just trying to keep up with the day and literally like throwing out the assembly line of lunches and, you know, backpacks, shoes, and, you know, getting everybody, you're not focused. You wake up and it's 2 weeks later, or a month later. I look back at some pictures when the kids were young, like, gosh, I barely remember that. It was such a blur, you know, and it needed to
survival.
People need to really, for sure. Yeah. Keeping them alive every day. Right. I mean, yes, there was joyous times, but it's, you know, it's getting into the daily, and it's nap time and bedtime, and getting these routines, and sit back, take a breath, enjoy it, you know. Go to the park and watch them run around and love it instead of trying to catch up on your phone, or, you know, that type of thing. Right. So,
and we do that. Like, you know, like that's the thing. It's almost like these podcasts are great moments to pause and be like, yeah, you're right. I should do that. I should try to do that. Cause, you know, again, like a lot of times, like we know these things, and, you know, I love like your reference of like the park, and you're just like there and you're kind of looking at the time. You're like, hey, what am I making for dinner? Like, or can we go? Or like, I don't want to stand here anymore. Or I'm like, I'm on the East Coast, so it's always cold. So I'm like, I'm freezing. I want to go outside. You know, and it's like those things like that. And then you look back on pictures and you're like, oh, take me back. Oh, I would do anything to be there. And like, oh, I would just bundle up and I'd love it and not be thinking about anything else. And it's, you know, it's not, unfortunately, it's not realistic, but yeah, like I find also like these moments, like I said, like the podcast, it almost is like, that's your cue. It's like, okay, pause, think about that. And like, maybe today, like at one point today, you'll be more present, and maybe tomorrow, but like, hopefully these moments kind of come into your life where kind of like gives you a little kick, like, hey, remember to do this.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Or it's almost like having a magnet or something, and, you know, on your mirror or whatever, right? Like just take a deep breath right now, or listen to them giggle and just love it and feel warm about it, instead of the old, again, what's next? Like you said, what's for dinner? What are we doing? Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on. I'm excited for you and for your business, and
thank you.
I do great. Where did the name Rumbly come from?
So,
I love it.
Yeah, thank you. The name Rumbly is to lean back into the feeling of in your stomach. So through motherhood, we constantly have, through pregnancy where it starts, we have this rumbly feeling in our tummies, you know, and you kind of never know what's right or what's not. You second guess everything. It's a little bit unsteady, and it's about kind of these polar opposites where pregnancy, motherhood, things we just talked about, you absolutely love it, but at the same time, you're like, just go to bed. Just go to bed, you know, like, you know, so it's like this constant pit and this feeling that's in our stomach, and this like kind of rumbly feeling. And Rumbly as the brand is to, again, help kind of ground you through that entire process when you first find out throughout your transition and early years in motherhood.
Love it. Well, thank you for what you're doing, and for all the women. They're going, yes, thank you. So, oh goodness. Yeah. So is there anything that you'd like for us to know, or any type of promotions or anything going on?
Yeah, so currently we offer free shipping, no minimum purchase required anywhere across North America. Rumbly it's a product that my goal is that women invest in themselves. So it's something that you actually gift to yourself in pregnancy. But it's also an excellent gift for another special woman in your life. So we attract both. So yeah, so free international shipping, no minimum purchase required. And we do have a very extra special promo coming up in the next couple of weeks. So I'm not sure when this recording will be live, but definitely go into our website, sign up for our newsletter, and it's it's a promo you don't want to miss. So
Awesome. Great. That sounds like perfect timing. It might be a week or two. So that's perfect. And what is the website, Marnie? Just right.
yeah,
It'll be in the show notes as well, but just if you want to, people who are ready to go right now.
absolutely. So Rumbly, rumbly.co.
Great.
And you can also find us on Instagram, where we're pretty active in trying to build a community of Rumbly moms with some fun content, some relatable content, building this like sisterhood community. So check us out there at rumbly_co.
Love it. Oh, great. I'm excited. I'm excited for you
Thank
and
you so
excited
much.
for the women out there. Thank you.
Thank you,
And
guys.
the last question that I always ask, is there a book or even a documentary that you would recommend to the listeners?
Ooh, it's a tough one because I actually used to work in documentary film, so I
Oh,
absolutely love documentaries and I have so many titles spinning in my head. But I will suggest a book, and pardon my language, but it is called "You Are a Fucking Awesome Mom," and
I love it.
Dan Gross. And
They're going, yes, I'm getting it.
this is actually this goes in our month 9 of our Rumbly subscription box. And it's just about embracing the chaos, getting over the guilt, and it just appeals to every mom, whatever your parenting style, whatever your background. It's just authentic, it's raw and real and relatable. And when you feel lonely and confused, this book's by your side. It's great. So I definitely recommend that one.
Awesome. I want to get it, and my kids are already gone. I can reflect back like, yeah, I was
Absolutely.
awesome.
Absolutely. Everyone needs to hear that too. You're still a mom, you know.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love it. Well, Marnie, thank you so much for being here. I hope you'll come back again, join me again.
Love to. It was great. Great to talk to you, and happy to speak to everyone who listens and tunes into the podcast. So
yeah, for sure. Oh, there's going to be a lot of excited women out there right now going, yes, there's something for me.
super.
All right. Thanks, Marnie. We'll talk soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Authentic Experts with Kara James. Please leave your feedback and visit strategicadvisorboard.com to get the latest and greatest business advisement on the planet. Follow us on social media for updates, and we'll see you on the next episode.